Hello, how are you guys? Welcome to our 27th class. In this video, we are going to continue our studies on relative clauses. So, do you guys remember what we saw last class? Let's take a short review because I want to add some new information about what we saw last class, okay? So, if you guys remember, last class we talked about relative clauses, right? So, now let's see how it works again, okay? So this slide here, it was taken from last class. It is exactly the same. It is only a review, right? We already saw this last class. So we have, for example, the sentence, the man is tall. The man is tall. Now, which man? I want to specify which man I'm talking about, okay? So I mean the man, he lives next door. So this man, this specific man, is the man that lives next door, right? So how can I use these two sentences together, right? I want to give you one information. The main clause is the man is tall. But I want to specify which man it is. And this man, he lives next door, okay? So we can add together by saying the man, right? We have now another sentence, he lives next door, is tall, okay? So we have here the two sentences together, but that's not how we say in English, right? We have to replace the subject, he, in this case. So we're going to say, the man who lives next door is tall, or if you prefer, the man that lives next door is tall. So remember, what we saw last class was that it is possible to replace he, right here the subject he, from the second clause, and we are going to replace it when we talk about people. We can replace it either by who or by that. Remember that? So in these cases here, pay attention, we are replacing the subject of the clause, okay, of the sentence. So this sentence here, he lives next door, we are going to replace the subject by who or by that, okay? Now, but it's also possible in some cases to replace an object from a clause, now to use two sentences together, okay? So that's what we are going to see now. Okay, so now this is new information, okay? The previous slide was only a review, but now I'm going to give you some new information about relative clauses, okay? Now, sometimes who or that are objects, okay? So we have to pay attention at the clause to see if this who or that is replacing a subject or an object. Let's take a look. It's easier to see it in an example, okay? So, in these cases, we are going to use who or that instead of him, her, or them, okay? So here, all object pronouns, him, her, or them. Let's take a look. Now, the girl is very pretty. The girl is very pretty. Again, this is our main clause, our main sentence. But I want to specify which girl do I mean? Which girl do I want to talk about? So, the girl I wanted to meet. So, I wanted to meet the girl. I wanted to meet her. So, pay attention here. In the first clause, the girl is the subject of the clause, right? Who is very pretty? The girl. So, the girl is the subject, okay? Now, in the second sentence here, I wanted to meet the girl. I wanted to meet her. So in this second sentence, who is the subject? I am, right? So who wanted to meet the girl? I wanted to meet her. Okay, so this is our subject now, I. But the girl is also here. The girl here is replaced by her, an object pronoun. So in this second clause, her or the girl, it is an object, okay? It is an object. Now, is it still possible to use these two sentences together? I am talking about the girl, but now the clause that I want to put together with the main clause, with the main sentence, in this clause, the girl is an object. So, okay, it is also possible, okay? In this case, we can also use who or that, but now I'm going to replace, or we are going to replace, him, her, or them. Okay, so here we have a her. How to do it? Now, we have in this case the girl who I wanted to meet is very pretty. The girl who I wanted to meet is very pretty. Now, pay attention here. The girl, I wanted to meet her. The girl who I wanted to meet. So again, in this second clause here, which is in red, the subject is I. I am the subject, right? So this girl who I wanted to meet, she is very pretty, okay? So it's very similar, okay? But the difference is, now I am replacing an object pronoun, her. The girl here is her, and I am replacing again by who, okay? So, no problem, it's very similar, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more, because there is one slight difference when it is the subject and when it is the object, okay? We'll talk about that in a few moments. Now, another possibility, of course, would be to use that instead of who, correct? So the girl that I wanted to meet is very pretty. In this case here, same thing, I just used that to replace her. Okay, so very simple, right? So far, there's absolutely no difference from what we saw last class, okay? I can use that or who to replace, in this case here, an object pronoun, okay? A person in this case, of course, because we can use who, so it must be a person. So I can also replace, in this case, an object pronoun, okay? Very similar to what we saw last class, okay? Slight difference here, but we usually don't even pay attention to that, okay? Now, that's also possible, okay? The same thing happens when we talk about an object. So let's review very quickly what we saw about objects, animals, of course, right? If it's not a person, is it still possible to do this? Yes, but we are not going to use who, remember? We can use either which or that when we are talking about things, animals, events, okay? So in these cases, of course, we are going to replace it or they, okay? We are going to use which or that to replace it or they. Remember, so this slide is also from the previous class, so it's only a review, okay? Now, example, the chair is in the living room. Which chair? The chair is broken. The chair that is broken is in the living room. The chair that is broken is in the living room. Again, now in this case here, I am replacing it by that, okay? No problem. It's also possible to use which, right? So the chair which is broken is in the living room. So I can also use which to replace it. Again, pay attention now. In the first sentence here, we have the chair as the subject. What is in the living room? The chair. Now, in the second sentence, we have also the chair as the subject, okay? What is broken? The chair. It is broken. So in both sentences here, the chair or it, of course, it can be replaced by it, is the subject of the sentence, right? Now, it is also possible to use which and that to replace an object, an animal, a thing, when we have an object, okay? When the object, the animal, the thing, the event, when it is an object in a second clause, in a second sentence, it's also possible to replace by who or that. Okay, sorry, by which or that, okay? So in this case, of course, which or that are going to be used instead of it or them, okay? So let's see one example. Have you found the keys? Have you found the keys? You lost them, okay? So you lost the keys, right? So pay attention here. In the first sentence, have you found the keys? And in the second, you lost them. Now, the keys, you lost the keys in the second sentence is an object, okay? You lost the keys, you lost them. Now, in this case, the same, we can replace them either by which or by that. For example, have you found the keys that you lost? Okay, have you found the keys that you lost? So in this case, we are replacing them by that, okay? So we are replacing them, an object pronoun, by that, okay? Because keys is in the plural, right? Now, have you found the keys which you lost? It's also possible, of course, to replace them by which, okay? So we can use either which or that when we talk about objects. So it doesn't matter if the object replaced is an object or a subject, okay? Now, teacher, if there's no difference, right, I can use who and that to replace an object or a subject pronoun when we talk about people, and I can use which and that to replace an object or a subject when we talk about things. So what is the difference? Why are we seeing this, right? It's implied, right? No, there is one important difference. What is the difference? When which, who, or that are objects, it is possible to leave them out. So in these cases, when we are replacing an object and not the subject of the sentence, it is possible to leave them out. It is possible not to use who, not to use which, or not to use that. Okay, let's see some examples here. Now, we saw previously, right? Have you found the keys that you lost? Have you found the keys which you lost? No problem, I can use either that or which. But look here, who lost the keys? You. This is the subject. You lost the keys. So, as I said here, that or which is replacing, in this case, an object. So it is possible to leave them out. Okay, let's see an example here. So that or which are replacing an object. So I can only say, have you found the keys you lost? Have you found the keys you lost? Okay, so here we have three correct options. Have you found the keys that you lost? Have you found the keys which you lost? Or have you found the keys you lost? Okay, so we can omit, we can leave which or that out in this case, okay, because we're talking about something, right? Keys are an object, right? And when we have people, for example, what we saw previously, the girl who I wanted to meet is very pretty. The girl that I wanted to meet is very pretty, okay? Now, in this case, again, who and that are replacing an object. How can I know that for sure? Now, who wanted to meet the girl? I wanted to meet the girl. Look at the subject here. The subject is I. I am the subject, okay? So, I can leave who or that out in this case. For example, the girl I wanted to meet is very pretty. The girl I wanted to meet is very pretty. Again, we have three options. So this is the main difference when we have who, that, or which replacing an object or a subject, okay? When it's a subject, it is not possible to leave them out. It's not possible to leave them out. It's mandatory to use who. It's mandatory to use either who or that or which or that, okay? Mandatory. You have to, because it is the subject of the clause, okay? Now, in this case, when they are replacing an object, it is possible to leave them out, okay? Let's take a look now also when we have prepositions, okay? So sometimes there are prepositions in a sentence. Now, what happens to the prepositions when we change, right? Usually we get the object and we change the object. For example, remember them by who, them by which, okay? So in these cases, and the preposition, does it change places like in Portuguese? In Portuguese, we have to change, right? Preposition usually comes before the relative pronoun, okay? It comes before the relative pronoun. Now, in English, it doesn't change. Let's see some examples. Now, the people heard us. The people heard us. Main sentence. We were talking about them. We were talking about the people, right? We were talking about them. Let's add these two sentences together. So, the people who we were talking about heard us. The people who we were talking about heard us. Now, pay attention. We have here the preposition about, right? And it stays in the same place it was. Look, I took this them out, okay? I'm not using them anymore. I replaced them by who, correct? Them, the people. It's people, of course, I can replace by who. So the people who we were talking about heard us. You see, so the preposition stayed in the same place, okay? Another example. The farm was really far. The farm was really far. We went to it. We went to the farm. Now, putting them together, we have The farm that we went to was really far. The farm that we went to was really far. Again, look here, we have the preposition to after the verb went, and it's going to remain after the verb went. No matter that the it, right, the object pronoun here, it, was replaced by that. Now, that changed place, okay? It was after the preposition, but that or which, we could also use which, right, in this case here, comes before the subject we here. It changed place, but not the preposition, okay? So the preposition remains in the same place, okay? Now, as we saw a lot of things today, let us practice because it is important to be sure that we understand everything that was said, okay? Now, let's turn these two sentences into one, okay? So, did you see the girl? Brad is talking to her. Now, Brad is talking to the girl. In this case, who is talking to the girl? Brad, right? So, Brad is the subject. So, her or the girl is the object. So, the girl here in the first sentence is in the second sentence is going to be an object. So we have to replace an object, okay? The object her. Very simple, right? So since it's a person, we can say, did you see the girl who Brad is talking to? Did you see the girl who Brad is talking to? Or did you see the girl that Brad is talking to? Okay, remember I can use either we, either who, or that to replace a person, right? To replace a subject or an object pronoun. Now, is it possible to leave who or that out? It's possible, right? Why is it possible? Because here, who and that are replacing her, and her is an object, okay? So we can only say, did you see the girl Brad is talking to? Did you see the girl Brad is talking to? Okay, another example. That bed was very comfortable. That bed was very comfortable. I slept in it. I slept in that bed. I slept in it. Again, it here is replacing the bed, right? Or that bed. So, of course, it is an object. So I can use either which, it or that, and also it's possible to leave them out, right? Examples. The bed which I slept in was very comfortable. The bed which I slept in was very comfortable. Again, pay attention at the preposition, right? I slept in it, I slept in the bed. So the bed which I slept in was very comfortable. Okay, so the preposition remains in the same place. Okay, of course, if I used which, it's also possible to use that, right? The bed that I slept in was very comfortable. And since it's an object, I can leave them out. So, the bed I slept in was very comfortable. The bed I slept in was very comfortable. Okay, guys, very simple, easy. Now let's do a different exercise, okay? Let us go and choose the appropriate ending from the list and complete the sentences using who, that, or which, but only if necessary. So what does that mean? It means that if it's possible to leave who, that, or which out of the sentence, we are going to do that, okay? If possible, we are not going to use who, that, or which, okay? Of course, it is possible. It's always possible to use, but I want to practice when we can leave them out, okay? Let's see here the first now. She showed me the clothes. She showed me the clothes. Now, how can we end this sentence? I have ever met doesn't make sense. He plays the piano. The clothes play the piano? No. The clothes was designed by Nehemiah? No, not possible, right? Basically because the clothes are in the plural, right? And it is singular. She brought from Paris. Okay, yes. She showed me the clothes. Now, she brought from Paris. Yes, it's possible, right? Here, I did not use the clothes, right? She brought them. She brought the clothes from Paris. She brought them from Paris. Of course, in this case here, that this is the correct ending for this sentence, okay? Now, in this case here, the clothes, them, is it the subject or the object in this sentence? It's the object, right? Now, who brought the clothes from Paris? Who brought the clothes from Paris? She. She brought them from Paris. So she here is the subject, right? So in this case, yes, it is possible to leave either that or which out because we are talking about something, right? Clothes. So in this case, it is possible not to use that or which, and of course, since the question asked us not to use if possible, we are not going to use, right? So she brought from Paris is the correct ending, and it goes, she showed me the clothes she brought from Paris. She showed me the clothes she brought from Paris. Of course, it would be possible to say, she showed me the clothes that she brought from Paris, or she showed me the clothes which she brought from Paris, okay? Now the second, we have a friend. I have ever met? No, doesn't make sense. He plays the piano. Yes, it makes sense, right? We have a friend and our friend plays the piano. Now, we have a friend, he plays the piano. Now, this friend, he plays the piano. Who plays the piano? He, our friend. So in this case here, he plays the piano. He is the subject of the sentence. So we have to use either who or that. Remember? So we're going to say, we have a friend who plays the piano. We have a friend that plays the piano. No problem, both are correct. We have a friend who plays the piano. We have a friend that plays the piano. He plays the piano, so I have to use either who or that, okay? Now, they are the kindest people I have ever met. Perfect. They are the kindest people I have ever met them, right? So in this case, this is the correct ending. Now, I have ever met these people, right? So, of course, now, who has ever met? I. So, I am the subject, not the people. So, of course, this is an object we are going to replace. And, of course, then it is possible not to use who or that. Okay, so we are going to say, they are the kindest people I have ever met. They are the kindest people I have ever met. Of course, it would be correct to say, they are the kindest people that I have ever met. They are the kindest people who I have ever met, okay? But since the question asked us not to use if possible, and it's possible, so we didn't use, okay? Now, John is the guy. It was designed by Nehemiah? No, doesn't make sense. Mary is married to him. Mary is married to John. Okay, perfect. This is our ending. Now, John here is replaced by him. So it is an object. It is an object. Again, it is possible not to use who and also, of course, not to use that. So we are going to say, John is the guy Mary is married to. John is the guy Mary is married to. Okay, and the last one, that is the building. That is the building, and the building was designed by Nehemiah. Now, what was designed by Nehemiah? The building. So the building here is the subject, okay? So it here is the subject of this sentence. So I have to use either that or which, okay? It is not possible to leave them out. So that is the building which was designed by Nehemiah. That is the building that was designed by Nehemiah. I have to use here either that or which, okay? Very simple, no problems. If you have any questions, okay, just please post them here and I'll be glad to answer the questions for you, okay? So that was it for today. I hope it wasn't very difficult, very boring. I know it's a lot of grammar for only one class, but this is something that many people make mistakes, and it's important because usually when we take tests, if you are studying for vestibular or for concursos, so in all these cases, this is a very important subject, okay? Next class, we are going now to correct our 7th list of exercises, okay? Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give me some thumbs up at the bottom. I'll be very glad if you do, okay? And of course, any questions, just post them here. Thank you very much. Thanks again for watching. See you all next class.